Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by my screen, Refracted Curvature, Neil, D-Rose, 10th, Brian's Logic, the Adam Meakin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Good morning, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Morning. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge that's a horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
Well, you started it off. The globetrotters are mourning because there is a
Mourning the loss of Earth curve, yeah, maybe.
Well, the real Black Swan is a geometric horizon because their model claims within the maths for their model, they claim that all horizons are refracted at a rate of over 6 hour of some kind, whether it be standard or terrestrial. So every horizon is a white swan because the only black swan is a geometric horizon. And I hate to do that, but it's true. So consequently, like the geometric horizon that they need is the black swan. So they put down the black swan argument that we make when really it should be them searching for a black swan.
Hello, guys. Is my sound coming through?
Hey, Arwen. Hello.
What's up,
thank you.
Arwen? I think the logic of the Black Swan only works on positive claims. So they make a positive claim that the horizon's geometric, and that's the only way you can apply that logic. Otherwise, it gets a bit convoluted.
Well, I put out a modus ponens on Master B during the week end, and I didn't get any responses to it. So I'm going to say it now and see what she said. If all horizons are non-geometric, so if P all horizons are non-geometric, then the Earth is a horizontal plane.
If all horizons are non-geometric, isn't that a non-claim?
Yeah. Right.
Well, if they're non-geometric,
I'll fix it.
Which they are.
I'll fix
Hold on, Eli.
No,
my objection's fine. Yours is not. Go ahead, Brian.
No, because if I say if all horizons are optical or only optical, then the geometric horizon is technically only optical as well, because you're only looking at it.
Mm.
So that's why I changed. That's why I didn't put in that. But if all horizons are non-geometric, then the Earth is if P the all horizons are non-geometric, then Q the Earth is a horizontal plane.
But you've got an if. Hold on, you've got an if. Hold on, your statement's making no sense in terms of logic, because you're saying if P is a positive assertion of P, if the Earth is a sphere, is the P statement in the Black Swan. You're saying if we have not got geometry, it becomes messy straight away.
Well, that's the point. If all horizons are non-geometric, then the Earth is a horizontal plane. All horizons are non-geometric, so the Earth is a horizontal plane. If P then Q, P therefore Q, modus ponens.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Well, fine.
Well, it would be if not P, then Q, not P, therefore Q, is what you're putting forward.
Yes, I was just trying to wrap my head through that. Exactly, that's correct. You're saying if not the first statement, then the following statement must be true. and you have got not the first statement, therefore the following statement's true. So it does work as a modus ponens. It's just it's not if P, it's if not P, then Q, not P, therefore Q. But having a non-thing follow the implication of a Q statement still seems squirrely to me. I don't know. I'll have to give this a bit more thought, Brian.
But that's modus ponens. Modus ponens is if P, therefore Q. P, therefore Q. That's modus ponens.
I get that, but it's making a positive statement. If the grass is green, then it is living. The grass is green, therefore it's living. Now, I don't think that's true because you cut the grass, but you know what I'm saying? Just as a rough, quick out of my head statement, my point being that the positive statement is that it will be green. Do you understand? As opposed to it won't be flying around the world. It won't be flying grass. If it's not flying grass, then it's alive. It seems really squirrely to have a non-statement as the P statement. But I don't know. I've said that 3 times now, so I'll stop saying it.
Yeah, but go on, Adam. I'll say after.
Well, I'm going to go. But the strength of the Black Swan is that it's incumbent on them to make these statements. But as soon as you go there, even if it's the grass is green, you've now got, it's incumbent on you to prove that non-green grass is dead, or you're forcing the burden of proof onto yourself, I think, unnecessarily, because you are ultimately trying to make the claim that it's a black plane. But in doing so, you've got to then, you're just going to be dragged into an argument of to the horizon.
Well, I don't have to, because...
Well, you do, because you're making the statement that it's not geometric. So you make it, even though it's a negative, it's a positive assertion on your behalf. We don't need to do that. All the positive assertions are made by them for their ball.
I mean, you can just stick with it. No, don't decry that you can do it. You can make a modus ponens statement utilising the horizon. If you ascertain a horizontal plane of reference with the horizon, then the Earth is a level plane. We do establish a horizontal plane of reference with the horizon, therefore the Earth is a horizontal flat Earth plane of reference. Earth is flat. You can make that into a modus ponens just by declaring what you do use the horizon with, and therefore what the land must be because of your use of it, and then affirm it the same way if P then Q. That's modus ponens. I got confused early on because I thought you were calling it a Black Swan, which is a modus tollens, which is if P then Q, not Q, therefore not P.
Yeah, no, I think I got a bit mixed up with what I was saying and the way I was saying it. So the claim is from them, their claim, officially, not the average idiot who doesn't understand their own model. Their actual claim is that every horizon is actually only optical and non-geometric, because every one of their horizons that they have to claim is a refracted position at some rate over 6R. And the standard amount, or the lowest amount, will always be at least 7 over 6R, which means nothing because it may as well be 700 over 6R, because it's the same thing. It's not geometric. So when I say if the horizon is not geometric, then the Earth is a horizontal plane. The horizon is not geometric, so the Earth is a horizontal plane. So all I would say to anyone who came to me saying, how do you know every horizon is not geometric? I showed them their own maths. Officially, it says that within even your maths, that it's not geometric. You need a geometric horizon to prove your globe, because you have...
You've skewed the positive statement from the modus tollens originally. So if the Earth is a sphere, then it will have a geometric horizon. We do not have a geometric horizon, therefore the Earth is not a sphere. Is the dumbed down, diluted version of the modus tollens with the Black Swan. That is in essence what you've rearranged, but taking the positive assertion from the globe that it is a sphere, therefore will have a geometric horizon, which is where the logic works well, and then showing that it isn't geometric, therefore can't be a sphere, in terms of how the Black Swan does it, but with an actual example that's physical that you can look at, that also entices them to say, refraction! What, not geometric then? Dumbos. It's been 3.5 years.
But I think go on, Kent. I'll say after you. Go on, you.
Yeah, well, it's worse. Thank you, Brian. It's worse than that. Andrew Thomas Young says, based on his research on refraction, that it was done over a horizontal plane. He states it was done on a plane. He never did it on a sphere. So Brian's point is good because if you go and read Andrew Thomas Young, and he says all refraction that I studied and researched was over a plane, but the Earth is not flat. So we need to do some geometric considerations. So now it goes from the actual research to a thought experiment.
Yes.
So they have to mark a geometric horizon below sea level that doesn't even exist.
2 points.
So
2 points. It already
hang on,
was. It already was a thought experiment. Okay, there's a couple of things. There's a distinction that we must make here, because what Brian is addressing is the anti-flat Earth. Let's keep it distinct. The anti-flat Earth rebuttal to a position that's been put to them in respect to their loss of the claim that the horizon is Earth curve, a hill, geometric in nature, blocking boats and buildings. That's the primary globe Earth claim. The primary globe Earth claim is that the horizon's a hill going to block boats and buildings. There it is in the maths, marked with an X, labelled horizon at a geometric limitation to block boats and buildings. Primary claim. Now, by pure fiat, or as a consequence of their own bullshit on a heliocentric world with light bending as it traverses a gradiated sphere-shaped atmosphere, oxymoron, air doesn't take the shape of a sphere, but they have a consequence that leads them to the fact that in their model, thought experiment, you will never see the geometric horizon. Enter Andrew Thomas Young to qualify that mathematically, to show you a geometric horizon that doesn't exist, and the extrapolation of the sphere-shaped air bending the light around it, meaning you've never got a tangent point or any geometry to ever claim again. It's the end. It's him pointing out the paradox as an apologetic for the failure of the model. Now, that is the layer that Brian is arguing with, not the primary claim, because the primary globe Earth claim is that we've got a geometric horizon. It's called Earth curve. It's supposed to block things because it's a hill getting in the way of stuff. But when we point out that it isn't a hill getting in the way, they bark refraction back at us, tell us about sphere-shaped air and how they couldn't ever have the geometry that they're leaning on to give them the rates of the light bending. Okay, but that's, as I say, the distinction between the primary claim of a hill getting in the way that's geometric in nature and the refracted, based on the geometry that you'll never see, horizon that Andrew Thomas Young presents. They're both, strictly speaking, canon for globe Earth.
Right. But let me accentuate what I'm trying to say here. Let me finish, Brian, because he came in with that thing right in the middle of my finish. So my point is, of all the studies and research of refraction, right, are done on a horizontal flat plane, then all you're doing is what they hijack celestial navigation with the Globeburger. That's why they draw the tangent plane, which is really Earth's surface. And they said, well, we're getting it from the equatorial plane, but we need to move it up here, and we need a parallel tangent plane up here so that the angle could be the same as the equatorial plane, because sunlight comes in parallel, et cetera, et cetera. So let me round it off here. So it's always been optical, never been geometric. And when it was optical, meaning the refraction research Andrew Thomas Young did, it was from a horizontal plane that caused the optics. 10, 15 degrees above the horizon with the stuff in the air and air temperature. All that stuff is happening on a flat plane. And he admits it, but he's got to change it because he thinks we live on a globe, and he marks a spot that doesn't exist below sea level. It's over.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand Tent's point, and I understand your critiques. But the problem is that, now I hate to say this, but it's true. The Black Swan argument is nullified because their maths states, because it has to, right? Because they can't have a no atmo day. Their math states that every horizon is non-geometric. And now that means they have absolutely nothing for their globe. Nothing. They have
That's
no
correct.
geometry.
Yeah, okay, I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down now.
Let me finish. Just let me finish.
Okay.
Right. That means that they have no geometry to base their refraction over 6-hour claims on.
Right.
Right. So consequently, a real Black Swan would be a geometric horizon. Right. So my statement is, if all horizons are non-geometric, then the Earth is a horizontal plane. All horizons are non-geometric, so the Earth is a horizontal plane. The only way to debunk that is to produce a black swan, which is a geometric horizon. That's my point.
Okay, yes, I
One
kind of get where you're going.
contention.
It's a bit, yes,
I got
a little
one
bit squirrely in terms
contention.
of them producing a black swan because it isn't strictly what a black swan is. But I now understand what you're putting down. What you're saying is, basically, where I say they're both canon, you're saying, no, it's not that they're both canon. It's an automatic paradox. You don't need to show them where the black swan doesn't give them a geometric horizon, because automatically their sphere-shaped air based on 7/6R in the model automatically debunks the notion of getting a geometric horizon. You can never have one in the model. Therefore, it's automatically paradoxical before you can present it, before you present any evidence. The model just fails. That's what you're saying, right, Brian? It doesn't need a black swan. Just show them how the model fails. Within your model, you've got bent lines that come from a value of a geometric horizon that can't be seen or measured. There you go. That's how the model works.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
but before, hang on.
Well, I'll go after it. I'll go after it.
Yeah, mine's real short here. Here's another paradox. Who do they quote? Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni on top of the mountain didn't even account for refraction. They use his findings, and so it must have been no Atmo day when he was on top of the mountain, because they stand behind him.
Sorry, can I just make a quick announcement to the chat? Please don't bully my latest member, Ruhif. Asking him where the geometric horizon is only funny when I do it. Thank you.
Eli, if you want to say something, you say, and I'll go after.
Just on that,
no, I just wanted to say, yeah, it's funny that they have an unfalsifiable claim in the onset of their argument, which is a non-argument.
Well, the way to falsify my modus ponens would be to produce a geometric horizon, because if all horizons are non-geometric, and they are, then that means that all swans are white. So they've got to produce the black swan to prove their point.
I think you're strawmanning them, unfortunately.
How am I strawmanning them?
Draw it. Yeah, because I'm only trying to think from how they defend it. They're going to say it's a combination of both. We're trying to paint this as a binary one or the other. They're going to say it's geometric but refracted, yeah, which doesn't allow them to form any definition, but they're still underpinning the point that it is the leading edge that's causing the obstruction. It's just that this is not related to the precise geometry of the Earth because of the refraction. You're still seeing the demarcation line as a consequence of geometry. It's just not where it should be.
It's a contradiction in terms. That's Brian's point. He's saying that from the off, you can't have it be a geometric refracted position. That's a contradiction in terms. Therefore, it fails from the outset. That's where. But you're saying he's strawmanning him. Hold on, Adam. I just want to clarify what you're suggesting. You're suggesting that that is somehow strawmanning them because they say it is paradoxically geometric refracted. I don't see how that's him strawmanning anything. It's him pointing out the paradox from the off, isn't it?
Well, I'm hearing that it's not geometric, but they will say it is a composite of the geometry. So I can't say to them, you're saying it's not geometric when it is geometric refracted.
You keep doing it. You keep saying it. Hold on. Geometric refracted, you say? Please define what you mean when you say, you, Adam, not the ballers on your behalf, but what you would define, quote, geometric refracted as. What does that mean?
It means an Arwinian paradox.
Well, there you go.
But in terms of taking the measurement, it's still not denying that the obstruction is caused by their supposed curvature. It's just where that renders will be based on the amount of refraction they have to use at that sliding scale. That's what I'm not.
But based on the geometry that they can't measure.
That's affirming the consequent at that point, because they're saying, well, first of all, the horizon is a consequence of the sphere. Now, let's talk about how much refraction we need. No, that's affirming the consequent.
Oh, totally. But that's a nice summary. That's exactly how they do it, Eli. Yeah. Now, how much refraction do I need? Because I can see the black swan today. Yeah, that is the way they work it. That in their head is how they resolve it.
But Adam,
Well,
that's my
the thing
point.
about it is-
Hold on,
real
Brian.
quick,
Hold on, Brian. Go ahead, 10th.
That's my point. Geometric refractive paradox. Got it. Light is bending, so that's why we got refraction. That's what they say. Great. How did you achieve this? Well, we did all our studies of light bending on a plane. Come on.
Yeah, I take that on board, Ken, but don't get me wrong. For anything that's being stated here as critiques, I understand the critiques. I understand what you're saying about Andrew Thomas Young. My point is that they have nothing to produce but their own mathematics, right? And their own mathematics state that every horizon, because of no atmo day not existing, every horizon has to be non-geometric. That means they don't have a geometric horizon, as they even admit. The geometric horizon is only in the maths. The point is that if all horizons are non-geometric, then the Earth is a horizontal plane. All horizons are non-geometric, so the Earth is a horizontal plane. They can't debunk that because even within their own maths, they must claim that the horizon is non-geometric. The only way to debunk that is to produce a geometric horizon, something they can never, ever do, because it's impossible, because it would mean that we would have to live on a globe that's a vacuum for one day.
Yeah, and that's what they concede. So a few quotes from AB Science. We cannot see the geometric horizon, end quote. Or from Planar Walk, nobody's expecting to see the geometric horizon, end quote. Or from the Rumpus, the geometric horizon only exists in the maths, end quote. So yes, absolutely correct. They can't ever see it, therefore to base their reality on it, I'll just read out this super chat, is paradoxical before we even give an example, Brian. And I think that's your point, and I actually agree with you, but I'm glad we're discussing it. The globe is neither black nor white, Swan. It's rainbow striped. I know this as I saw they at a prideful parade. They sound very brave. Thank you for the super chat, Godzilla. Really appreciate the support.
I would say that Brian's modus ponens, or whatever we're going to define it, I don't know if it's a modus ponens, would work great against an anti-flat earther. So someone who's not, it would be like I don't know how you make the connection to someone who's not claimed refraction at that point.
They don't know.
Can I just quote Rufy, Brian, here? I just want to quote Rufy in respective point, because his last message to me, he's given me a few, but P.S. Al-Biruni is rubbish. Possibly fudged his measurements. Quote me. What I'm seeing here is these guys squirming because of the Black Swan and trying to reposition themselves.
Let me just address that. I know Brian. Actually, let Brian finish off his point before I address the differential calculation, not the measurements or the values that he claimed to take, but the methodology of the differential. But maybe I'll let John do it after Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, my point is very simple. The real Black Swan would be a geometric horizon, and that's what they've got to produce to prove that the Earth is not a horizontal plane.
I sense a QE ear bending coming your way, Brian, but fine.
I'm okay with that.
Me too.
Hang on. Can you read Rufy's last statement again, please? I can barely believe what I heard.
P.S. Because it proceeds with, holy shit, you aren't getting it. He's had a go at Nathan saying he's not getting what Toon's laying down. I've got some bits I want to share on that later once we got past this point. But like I say, it smells of squirming, because it's just bait, isn't it? P.S. Al-Biruni is rubbish. Possibly fudged his measurement, which is the interesting statement where he's maybe conceding something. Quote me. Was what Rufy said, but possibly fudged his measurement. He's still measuring to what they're claiming.
I see. So in terms of the method that he had to adhere to get those measurements, John, any chance you could just detail precisely what Al-Biruni was doing so we have a clear idea of his method as opposed to whether or not his measurements within the method were right or wrong? Do you follow what I'm asking you for?
Exactly.
Yeah, he was establishing a differential between eye level and sea level, where sea level meets the sky, what we call the horizon. He was establishing a differential between two flat planes.
Hope we cleared that up for you, Rufy. Oh, by the way, just out of interest, how's that geometric horizon working out for you? Good?
Well, that's why I wanted Adam to read it again, because do you know how many times I've posted, and John just clearly, succinctly described it, what a depression angle is? So based on Rufi or Ruhif, whatever, um, depression angle doesn't exist. Al-Biruni fudged everything. There's no way that guy's for real. Well, then I'm going to do the same with Eratosthenes, all the rest of the gang.
Yeah, but the problem with Ruhif's statement, although if we had that statement read out to us about 5-6 years ago, it would have been a massive win. But now I'm different about it. The problem with Ruhif's statement is that for Al-Biruni, and this goes back to my bonus opponents, for Al-Biruni to have gotten that measurement, the horizon needed to be geometric on that day. And within their model, they state that the only way for that to happen is for there to be a vacuum that day.
Right. No, I get it. That's why
there's no way
Al-Biruni
thought this up. Just let me finish. There's no way, I know you're eager, but I'll be very quick. There's no way for us to ever get that measurement unless there's a fog, right? Because the horizon is never conforming, not once in history, and ever will, to their maths. So it's impossible for him to get a measurement that fits the geometric maths they have, because those geometric maths don't exist in physical reality. That horizon will never be that close, because they always, within their own model, have to claim that it's non-geometric, which means it would have to be further than that. Go on, Ken, go on.
Right. Well, you've done great work on your channel showing infinite over 6R, but no more than, no less than 7 over 6R. But when you apply all that, you find out that they keep saying refraction, refraction, refraction. So we say, welcome to flat Earth, because Earth curve is not geometric, it's refraction, it's optical, it doesn't exist. Then we cite Andrew Thomas Young saying all his refraction studies were done over a horizontal plane, but then what? Well, we don't live on a plane, so I'm going to do some clever math and make the geometric horizon something that you can't see unless there's no Atmo day. So what did they just do? They got all their preliminary data off of a flat plane. And then they did some hoodwinking and said, we live on a globe.
Shout out to Eli, he already called this. So the hoodwinking was begging the question Earth's a sphere and then affirming the consequent with this. Just wanted to point out what the hoodwinking was, as Eli's already done it, but carry on, 10th.
Yes. So good job, Eli. So then, since you never could see it, it can never be proven we live on a sphere. And so because light bands at denser levels where the air temperature and everything above the sea, they take that as a different medium rather than optical issues. Who's talking? Anyway, so then when push comes to shove, all of their data supports a flat horizontal plane, but they want us living on a sphere. You say, where's the Earth curve have to be based on observer height, 1.22 miles, right, at 1 foot observer height? How come it's not there? How come we got 2 oil platforms, one being 9.41 miles, and the horizon, the Earth curve, is beyond it? Refracted. What?
I've got another quote.
The hill change.
Might help just clarify their new position. It's pretty funny hearing Nathan not picking up what Toon is putting down. Patrick uses the 1.22 times formula, which ignores refraction, but he measures the horizon optically, which means he needs to account for refraction.
But that's begging the question. See, that's what my opponent.
Yeah, but again, you see that's when at that point, that's fine. I'll give you 7 over 6R, because the Black Swan is not even close to that, is it? The amount of, and remember, it isn't refraction they're invoking; it's terrestrial refraction of something greater than 7 over 6R. That's what they invoke, and that's what makes it the paradoxical that it fits the day, the amount of terrestrial refraction. Now, when we measure things across a flat plane, we are aware that there is some refraction in the air that occurs, but it in no way, and we can go to Andrew Thomas Young, could it be described as terrestrial refraction?
I just wanted to clarify something, because maybe I am missing something here. Was there a point that we got the R value measured for the 7/6R or infinite over R refraction that we must assume when we beg this question, Rufy? Did I miss that R measurement? I mean, when I asked Charles about it, he told me he didn't need it, he didn't require it, only to then repeatedly require it, use it, and utilize it, much to my dismay, because he made him a liar. Because you do need R. You just can't measure it. So if you can show me where you measure it, maybe we'll take your 7/6 of an assumed radius that you can't measure seriously. But until then, it's just you begging the question that we need to incorporate this R that can't be measured into a refraction value that begs the question that Earth's a sphere and the light paradoxically moves through sphere-shaped air. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I understand what's going on here.
And a lot of people get confused because they don't have anything practical to apply, all of the conversations that we're having. Basically, when an anti-flat earther comes over and says, "Oh, it's refraction, this, that, and the third," what does that mean? So what does that mean mathematically? What does that mean in any sense that you mean it? Well, actually, what they're doing, if someone is smart enough to show you something, is increasing the radius. That's all they're doing.
Yeah. Adam, on that note, tell us what it is in the Black Swan. How many over R is in the Black Swan based on the 10-mile horizon?
I think we had. Oh God, what was it? Was it 2,000?
I think it was 100 over 6R. Around 100 over 6R.
Yeah, that's the point. If we're talking small percentages, then your layman can almost forgive it. And if they take the argument there, it's a tricky one, and you're left with the paradox. But like I say, with the strength of the Black Swan images, they can invoke it all they like, because look at the farcical numbers they have to invoke. It negates their own argument when they say it's this kind of refraction because it's 1,000 or 100 over 6 or whatever. It's not in the same margin of error that you could kind of stay on the ball with. The level that the Black Swan provides destroys the possibility of it being a hologrammatic image of a flat plane created by 100 over 6R of terrestrial refraction.
Okay, just so I can remind the audience, Adam, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to point out what the actual inference is when they give us this as a rebuttal. Okay, so they get presented with the Black Swan that shows the horizon is beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere with a radius 3959 that would put a hill in the way at 1.2 miles. So according to the globe Earth claim, there's going to be, and is, because the geometry is set in stone, it's the physical size of the hill of the sphere Earth that's supposed to be getting in the way. Well, according to that geometry, the hill's in the way at 1.2 miles. Now, what they are claiming in rebuttal when we point out, look, that hill that you say gets in the way is behind the oil rigs. It ain't in the way. They go, no, it's refraction. Okay, what does that actually mean? They're saying that the hill that's in the way, because we're on a globe Earth at 1.2 miles, has picked itself up and put itself behind the thing it is in front of. So in physical terms, there is a hill in the globe Earth model blocking the oil rigs. It's physically in the way of them. But because of, quote, refraction, the hill isn't in the way, it's behind them. Therefore, their claim in rebuttal is to say that when you walk up to the top of a hill that you are familiar with, and you know that there are houses beyond the hill that you're walking up that you can't see because there's a hill in the way, that one day, because of refraction, not only will you see the houses behind the hill one day, the hill you're walking up will be behind those houses. That's what they are saying, just to be clear.
Well,
That's exactly wait. That's exactly what their argument is. But every time I repeat that to a globe earther or an anti-flat earther, they tell me that that's absurd. But that's what you're saying. Because you've assumed that there is Earth curve, then we assume that that Earth curve is at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as per the math and the radius of the Earth. And so therefore, when we see it behind something that it should be obstructing, That's exactly the same argument. Well, here's a hill. The hill is right in front of these houses, but this day we go to look at the hill, and the hill is actually behind the houses, and you can see the hill. So when we spit it back to them in some other analogy, they say, that's absurd. That makes absolutely no sense. But that is your apologetic for the debunking of the globe and the radius.
And to my point, Eli, hang on. And to my point, anything that relates to refraction, about hills moving, not moving, it doesn't matter. It's just perfect time to bring in what I was trying to say. All refraction research was done over a flat plane.
Perfect. With 111 people watching, it's a good time to say a massive thank you to everyone who smashed the share button, because that's the probable reason that we've got 111 people watching, 112. Please share the show, and obviously, like I say, a very warm welcome for joining us. And yeah, hopefully we'll get a few more people joining before the end of the live stream. Okay, we have actually got a video to cover today, although it's a short one. Is there any conclusory points that will take less than 30 seconds before I get into this?
Yeah,
I do have one.
I have one. So I'll go after John if you want.
Just John, then Brian. Everyone else, you're going to have to bite your tongue, I'm afraid. Go ahead.
Oh, come on.
I just want to say that this is one of the reasons I suggested we go to a flat earth debate from like 5 years ago and review that to see how much the rhetoric's changed because of the Black Swan.
Yes. Why haven't we done that? Yes.
Who are you with? What are they doing to you, Eli? You sound very excited.
No, I'm saying, who am I with? No, I'm refracted curvature. That's a brilliant point. We should review one of our own debates and see how the rhetoric has changed since we've debunked their claim about the horizon being geometric.
Okay, I'm going to do a quick plug for a different video because we covered it in the after show and I didn't plug it, but I will plug it now. So Brian Leake did a decent enough job of critiquing us, and as we're all telling you, the audience, continually how we argue in the after show and disagree with each other pretty much constantly, it's nice to see somebody at least doing it to a standard that we can go fair play. You know, you've called me specifically out in this video, Brian, and you've done a bloody good job, and you found examples. So where typically a baller, or most recently it wasn't actually a baller, it was Dell, made baseless assertions about things that I'd said. In this instance, Brian's gone and shown where his examples are proven true. Where I criticise someone for using a reification fallacy, science doesn't say this, you fool. It has no lips. Only to then clip out an example where I say, science says that. Yeah, good job. That's how you do it, by the way, ballers. So check out Brian. I've got to be honest, watching this back, albeit for the first time in the pre-show, Brian, you felt like one of the team. There were things that we could criticise you for, so if you remember, check it out maybe in a couple of days if you're not on the second channel. But there were things that we said you got wrong too. But yeah, fair play to you, good job, and check him out. Go subscribe today to Brian Leake. You've probably heard his name come up more and more recently, which means he's doing a good job if he's getting us talking about him, because he's obviously bringing up points that we feel are worthy of the live show. So good job to you, Brian. Hopefully you'll get some love from my subscribers. If you do go and click on the link that's whizzing its way on by, or you watched in the pre-show and you know what we're talking about, then just let him know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Good video. He's on our side. He's a friendly, by the way.
Brian, gotta go.
Nathan, you're not saying this because someone recently said you never admit when you're wrong, are you?
Go ahead, Brian. Before you do anything else.
No, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it on the spot. I've got no issue admitting when I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, the news is that you never admit that you're wrong because you're never wrong. I think today's show will prove otherwise.
Oh, did someone say I'm never wrong? Who are they? I like that. It's not true, but I like it.
He didn't just say that you're never wrong. He said the FED panel claims that they're never wrong. But let's let Brian go. I mean, Brian has been
Look. The claims that Brian made in the video I've just recommended were narrow, specific, and exampled. So if you can find an example where we are claiming we are infallible, then I'll go, all right, okay, I don't remember saying that. Fair play to you. Here we are declaring to the world our infallibility. I don't think you'll find it, but there we go.
That's not the point I'm trying to make. My point is that, hang on, please. My point is we're being attacked, and rather than substance, right, like what Brian did, and then you say, well, yeah, okay, I made a mistake. Okay, we're being attacked as if we never make mistakes, and that's our position. Everybody else is wrong except us. and including you personally, not just the FED panel. So today's show will counteract that stupidity because they got nothing else to say but that. For what? To cover up something else.
Okay. Well, moreover, we're now going to be covering a different video, which isn't Brian Leak, which we covered in the pre-show, but instead.
What about my 30 seconds?
Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot
can
you about you, Brian.
what's
I'm sorry, you're easily forgotten. What can I say? Go ahead.
Yeah, well,
I would like to go briefly right
unfortunately, I am. Fortunately, I am. If all horizons are non-geometric, then the Earth is a horizontal plane. All horizons are non-geometric, so the Earth is a horizontal plane. That means all horizons are non-geometric, so all horizons are white swans. The only way for them to counteract that is to show a geometric horizon, which they can't, as even within because even within their maths, it makes the claim that all horizons are non-geometric. Consequently, their maths prove the Earth cannot be a globe and must be a horizontal plane. Because when you state the Black Swan argument, you're making a claim that the horizon is not geometric. Whereas this doesn't make a claim. This is pointing out the horizon is non-geometric, and all they can do is agree with you.
Yeah, it's contained within their model. I agree, Brian, with the conclusion at the very least that you made at the end there. I totally agree, and it is a natural consequence of their model. So you are right, and I did agree with you initially, and I was only joking when I said you're forgettable. I love you dearly, Brian.
You don't.
No, that's a good point because it's. I mean, shoot, man, because we only have the Black Swan is because we were being reactionary to them, but if we were taking things at face value and for its truthhood, then what should have preceded that is what Brian said, in my opinion.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Disagree. Leave it with the Black Swan. At worst, you're holding them to their claim, which they're now showing to deny, which is fine, because then we can use the Black Swan and describe it with regards to how Nathan did with regards to the movement of the hill. I don't want to have to stand by a claim that I don't need to make. And by making the statement that all horizons are geometric or not even, it's forcing me to prove something. I'm happy to work.
It's not even true.
I've just thought
it's not even true, Brian, because if you look up definitions of local horizon, if I put a physical hill, and I do mean an actual hill, between me and something else, then that's not the geometric horizon from the Earth curve maths. It's a local horizon that I've artificially induced by putting something that's topographical between me and things in the distance that I would definitely resolve with my eyeballs. Well, that is geometric. You could measure it. It's Earth measurement if you measure that hill, right? But it's not the Earth curve geometric horizon. So even now, you still need extra specificity to not have the local horizon completely balls up your argument.
Well, the local horizon's not really an horizon, is it?
It's labelled as a horizon, though. I mean, I'm only doing this as devil's advocate. Please don't attack the messenger. But you see where I'm going with it, right?
I'm not going to. I'm trying to take a step forward because what I'm trying to do is that all horizons are non-geometric as within their model. All horizons are when they're talking about the Earth curve. It's all non-geometric.
But now you're into. Hold on. But then there's another problem. Let me just highlight the next problem.
You're missing something.
I'm not. I just want to highlight the next problem. As soon as you say in their model, it then would revert to, well, why not just make the positive claim for their model that there is a geometric horizon? Because that's where you get back to the Black Swan.
What I was trying to finish on was that every horizon, every sea horizon, let's say you use sea horizon, that means that every sea horizon is a black swan. But it's not. At that point, every sea horizon is a white swan, because the black swan would be a geometric one, a geometric horizon. They have, like, my point is, we produced a black swan when it was really technically up to them to produce the black swan. Because the only real black swan, if you want to talk about sea horizons, is a geometric one.
Okay.
That's my point.
Now, we got it several times.
We chased around or whatever.
We got it.
You understand what I mean?
We do. We got it several times. Okay, perfect. We are going to move on though. So now we're going to
No,
come.
the only way to undo a geometric
Excuse me.
argument.
I've been waiting for the longest. I said, can I say something after Brian? And everybody's been interjecting, cutting off Brian, 10th man stretching things out. I just want to say something. To avoid the reification fallacy and the oxymoron statement atmosphere, could it be fair to say, and I'm not trying to coin this, maybe somebody said this, but could it be fair to call it climatic refraction? Because the climate, kind of like induces climatic induced refraction, because that's why we have the different variations of the horizon's distance better than
No, we don't. No, that's nothing to do with it. We don't. No. Absolutely.
No, I'm talking about when we say, because we always say atmosphere.
No.
Let's not make up words to counter the
what proof have you got that refraction has nothing to do with the horizon? Nothing. But don't bring in any refraction. That's their claim.
Got you.
You don't make any claims of refraction. Nothing. Don't go, well, maybe this type of... No, it's not. You don't know what the horizon is. You just know it's not. It's an optical phenomenon. That's all you know. But you don't make claims about the horizon other than non-geometric. That's the only claim you can make.
When you're stepping outside. I've got another message here from Rufy, yeah? And this is all you need. Stick with the Black Swan, because this is his rebuttal. And no, Nathan, it is not our claim that the apparent horizon is at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Please find a baller that claims that. Well, as we said earlier,
sorry, maybe you could tell me. Maybe you could tell me that it's a straw man. So that's a straw man. Me suggesting that the marked with an X, labelled horizon at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, Earth curve, titled Earth curve mathematics, isn't Rufy's claim. Actually, that's my claim I'm making that he doesn't really make, so I can burn the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking labelled, titled Earth curve calculator with a marked with an X labelled horizon Earth curve at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's not really your claim, is it, Rufy? It's actually a straw man.
Yeah,
oh my God, you are unbelievably stupid, Ruhif. It's absolutely your claim, you Dumbo. But it's nice to hear the heresy of you denying your own claim there, Sunshine. Yeah, it's definitely the Earth curve at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet as marked with an X labelled horizon in your begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator that one of those episodes will have you referring to, Rufy. Notice how earlier in the episode we were talking about going back to old episodes. Well, in those old episodes, you will be fighting for it, you Dumbo. It's the one that you presented here, Rufy. Do you not remember? Have you got amnesia? Do you not remember presenting the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator in the Isle of Man discussion? Is it now a straw man that you were actually arguing for back then? It seems Ruhif suffered amnesia. Maybe a sharp blow to the head happened between when he claimed 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, marked with an X, labelled horizon in the Earth curve maths, because now he's claiming it's not his. Right, Dumbo? Yeah, enjoy the aftertaste. Let me know how that geometric horizon that you used to claim at the Isle of Man is working out for you, rather than telling me it's not your claim there, eh, Sunshine? You have a good day, Rufy. Sleep well.
Nobody's ever seen a geometric horizon. Come on.
Unless it's blocking the Isle of Man with Rufy claiming it at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height marked with an X and labelled horizon in the maths he presented that was labelled and titled Earth Curve Maths. My bad, that was actually me claiming that as a false claim you don't make, right, Rufy? Yeah? When we go back and listen to you claiming it, you're going to look like a right tard. Straw man, you say, Dumbo? No, Rufy,
No,
definitely your claim, Dumbo. Definitely. Need citation of you claiming it? I've got plenty. Yeah? Have a good day.
No, Nathan, that never happened. You just have to agree that that never happened.
No, it definitely happened. Rufy definitely showed me that marked with an X horizon. He's now claiming it isn't their claim. No baller would claim it. Well, you're no baller then, are you, Dumbo? Because you claimed it. So Rufy's, quote, no baller. That's right, Rufy. Welcome to Flat Earth. You're no baller if you're denying your own bloody Earth curve, you stupid fool.
Yo, Refracted, you, if you're not busy today, you want to go dumpster diving for old baller arguments?
I'll find a few of Ruthie using the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator he now says is a straw man misrepresentation. I'm thinking no.
164.
What's he curving straight lines of light around? Why does he have to curve light that's going straight? It's because of his 1.22. Yeah? This is his whole fundamental claim. This is why we don't need anything else. Listen to how they have to convolute themselves just dealing with the Black Swan. You don't need to go any further because they still can't address the Black Swan.
Yeah, he needs to literally deny the evidence of existence of his own Earth curve horizon in response to the Black Swan. Heresy. And it's got me, the flat earther, laughing right in your face now, hasn't it, Rufy?
Well, as beautiful as it is, it doesn't make what Brian's saying untrue. That's all I'll say.
I'm not
exactly,
arguing that.
right.
I'm saying I don't think anybody said that. I think we said it becomes hard. You've got to go into a lot of explanation, and it levels a burden of proof onto you as to what horizons mean. We don't need to do that. It's their claim what the horizon is. Whether it's refracted or not, it's still fundamental with their terrestrial refraction what the horizon is. We don't need.
I vaguely remember Ruhif bragging that he had even done the maths himself, that it was his mathematics, and it obviously was identical to Metabunk or whoever else's Earth curve maths. But I vaguely remember, I could be wrong on this, that he bragged about how he had done the maths himself, hadn't just taken it from a generic curve calculator, it was his that he had made. I bet someone will find that for me in one of the old shows.
I think I already have.
That never happened.
I think I already have found that. I think it's episode 164. He's talking with Anthony about it.
164,
Okay.
Have you got a link? I think we'll do this live.
That never happened. It's from another universe.
Hold on, Alwyn needs to get his jape in for the 6th time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that never happened. It was from another universe, right? It's a Mandela effect. So that never actually happened, but we still have that recording, but it never actually happened. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking, and I could be wrong with my memory because this has been 2 weeks ago that I found it. So it's at 164, but I don't know if it is 164.
Maybe one of the ballers can find it, right, and get Ruhif and just dub my voice over the top of him so he can continue to claim that it's actually me making a straw man claim for the maths that he's done very specifically himself because he's really smart and knows how to do Earth curve maths that places the horizon at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's hind feet, now claimed as a straw man that we're misrepresenting him with. What a joke.
But
Just got one bit, just Levi, just a bit from QE, because I think he must be doing something. He's just sent me this. So, again, in response to what I was saying, but we're not arguing with it. Brian's argument is brilliant against a non sequitur from the Skank and File boltards. Even though the terrestrial refraction doesn't exist, if I give it to them, please identify the refraction effect that moves the horizon exclusively and not the objects in relation to the horizon. Refracted horizons are married bachelors in their spheretard.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. QE. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, you can't disagree.
Can we finally move on to the video?
Yes, please.
With 5 minutes remaining on the scheduled live streams time. Great. Anyway, I've spammed the link previously, but I'll do it again now. This time, actually, do go and let this videographer know, because we will cover his video now, that at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And obviously keep it clean, keep it polite, so that they don't remove your comment instantly because you've called them an idiot. If we're critical, I don't actually know. We might be on the same side as this Lex Friedman guy. So that's who we're covering, Lex Friedman. He's not got a massive channel, but hopefully you'll share some algorithmic love with him today if you're in our live audience. So let's have a listen.
What's the difference between math and physics to you?
To me, very, very roughly, math is about the logical structure of all possible worlds, and physics is about our actual world.
And it just feels like our
But maths is about the possible structure of all worlds. What about if you're describing something unworldly mathematically? Maths is just a
Possible.
language. That's a crap answer.
It's not a good start.
No, it's possible, not real.
That's one aspect that you could describe with the language of maths. That's right. But I could simultaneously describe something that is completely devoid of what he just described, also with maths. So it's a crap answer.
Yes, but this is Sean Carroll answering. And you're going to see that this statement he just said there, if you play it again, is going to come back to bite him, and it destroys everything that they're saying, because it only exists in the math.
Very, very roughly, math is about the logical structure of all possible worlds, and physics is about our actual world.
and it just feels like our actual world is a gray area when you start talking about interpretations of quantum mechanics, or no?
I'm certainly using the word world in the broadest sense, all of reality. So I think that reality is specific. I don't think that there's every possible thing going on in reality. I think that there are rules, whether it's the Schrodinger equation or whatever. So I think that there's a sensible notion of the set of all possible worlds, and we live in one of them. The world that we're talking
about to do with physics.
I heard John first, but yes, I got your objection noted, Darwin. Otherwise, you'll say it 6 more times. Go ahead, John.
The Schrodinger equation is a description, right? It's not a law. It's just a description. Like entropy, the second law of thermodynamics, is also a description, but it's not the Schrodinger law. It's the Schrodinger equation. So I don't know if I would agree with the way he's even using math there.
He's already convoluted it straight off the bat because he hasn't said maths is a description, a language. So because he hasn't said that, he's blurred the lines straight away for the second answer. Go ahead, whoever that was, Chocolate.
No, that was me. I was just saying the Schrodinger's equation is maths. So he can't relate that directly to physical reality. If he's trying to do that, because maybe I'm wrong. I thought he was trying to do that.
We'll find out shortly. It's only a very short video.
Might be a multiverse, might be many worlds of quantum mechanics, might be much bigger than the world of our everyday experience, but it's still one physically contiguous world in some sense.
What?
But so if you look at the overlap of math and physics, it feels like when physics tries to reach for understanding of
What overlap would you go first, Darwin? I was late on my mute button. Go ahead.
This just seems like a bunch of nonsense backroom talk. What the hell does any of this have to do with physics? I mean, this is like cheap science fiction speculation on top of astrophysics at best. And they might have looked up a couple of physics-related items or something. I mean, these guys don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's very obvious to me.
Of our world.
It's actually a confession of what they're doing. You have to listen to it and take every word and the way he's doing it. But the admission was at the beginning. You'll see by the end.
It uses the tools of math to sort of reach beyond the limit of our current understanding. What do you make of that process of sort of using math to, so you start maybe with intuition, or you might start with the math and then build up an intuition, but this kind of reaching into the darkness, into the mystery of the world with math?
Well, I think I would put it a little bit differently. I think we have theories of the physical world, which we then extrapolate and ask, what do we conclude if we take these seriously well beyond where we've actually tested them? It is separately true that math is really useful when we construct physical theories. And
take them beyond where we've tested them. Admission. It's all this theories, like colloquial, not scientifically, proven. So we're going to take beyond what testing tells us, and we're going to make up black holes, all these different things. That's what I see.
Right, this is all astrophysics adjacent horseshit.
Well, he's full on blurred the lines between maths and physics so far. That's all that's happening here.
And, famously, Eugene Wigner asked about the unreasonable success of mathematics and physics. I think that's a little bit wrong, because anything that could happen, any other theory of physics that wasn't the real world but some other world, you could always.
Yeah, there you go. So in the real world, theory in this context would be off the back of scientific experimentation. That's the theory that we'd be talking about. He, as just pointed out by 10th Man, isn't talking about that kind of theory anymore. When you describe things in mathematical theory, you're describing, and that's it. It's just the language of description. That's all maths is. That's different to explaining something that occurs in the physical world. That's physics.
Always describe it mathematically. It's just that it might be a mess.
So the description might be a mess, but the description will never be an explanation. That you will acquire by physical experimentation.
The surprising thing is not that math works, but that the math is so simple and easy that you can write it down.
They always do it. I hear it every time they blur the lines. They use this word, very magic. Less magic than you might first think when you hear it. The word is work. So the maths just works. Well, why is that a magic word? Well, because what does work mean? It's got a very physical inference to it. When you hear about maths working, well, is the maths going to pull my wagon? No. Maths, the description, won't be doing any work. Yeah? What they mean is their numbers calculate out correctly. That's not work. But they use the word interchangeably when they're blurring the lines between physics, that's the study of the physical, and maths, which could describe and quantify the physical after you figure out how it works with physics.
It down on a t-shirt, right? I mean, that's what is amazing.
Go on.
No, I was just saying equivocation. When they use the word math works so broadly.
It is an
different
equivocation.
contexts.
Yeah, they're using it in two different contexts. Correct. Same word.
That's an enormous compression of information that seems to be valid in the real world. So that's an interesting fact about our world, which maybe we could hope to explain or just take as a brute fact. I don't know. But once you have that.
Why? After describing how the maths of it will pad out, you're going to tell us that could tell us about the physics? Nah, experiment will give you that.
That, you know, there's the indelible relationship between math and physics, but philosophically.
Not really. I mean, some people go out and find out the cause of an effect they've studied in nature, and once they've qualified it, mathematicians can come on and quantify it, put it into a scale arbitrarily, and things of that nature. But, you know, finding out what caused things is back to my example earlier in this show. I don't know if it was in the pre-show or live show, I forget now. But in terms of adding acid to water, how much acid? Well, I don't know, 50% of the quantity overall? Okay, and that'll cause it to boil? Yeah, we know how much. Hold on a second, doesn't it take boiling the water with heat? No, we're going to do it with how much. The mathematical quantification of how much acid is in the bloody water for whether or not it'll boil. And then we'll put that how much acid onto a scale because maths works. Look, in my maths, I turn up the level of acid and the boiling changes. Look, it works in the maths. The numbers calculate out correctly. Meanwhile, over in physics, they figure out that adding heat to the water will cause it to boil. And it doesn't matter whether mathematicians gave a scale to the acid quantity. First, you need the cause. Then you can apply your descriptions. Describing things is something that anybody can do. After you know what you're describing and how it works. Well, how it works will come from the physics, the physical, the study of the physics of our world that we encounter. Describing it, be it in Spanish, Italian, or mathematics, can come afterwards. But they're not intrinsically linked, and the science has no dependency whatsoever on the maths.
Philosophically, I do want to separate them. What we extrapolate, we don't extrapolate math because there's a whole bunch of wrong math, that doesn't apply to our world, right?
Unlike science, which is empirical, you've got a hypothesis that will give you one or other outcome. Either your presumed cause will cause the effect you studied, or it won't. Well, one of those two outcomes will be proven true upon validation of a hypothesis through systematic experimentation. Unlike maths, which you've just boldly and laughingly declared how wrong it can be. Yeah, it can, because it's just a description. Being in Spanish doesn't make me right. Being in maths doesn't make me right either. Go on now, you're determined to interrupt my point.
Math is supposedly wrong then. Does that happen to be like the math about baseline?
Who's doing that? Who's doing that? Hold on, Arwin. Somebody's off mute. Who's off mute? Come on, own up.
Okay, and I like to do business.
John. It's John.
He's got it. Go ahead, Arwin. Carry on. Sorry about that.
Now, I'm just very curious as to what this wrong math is. Is that, for example, like the mathematical realization of a 90-degree angle that you're going to need of a flat baseline, etc.? That kind of math? Is that wrong? Or
No. If I've got 2 apples, yeah, and you say, give me 3 apples, yeah, on paper, I give you the 3 apples. You end up with +3, I end up with -1. Agree?
Yeah, mathematically, I get it.
Well, where's the minus apples? Is there such a thing as minus apples?
It's an IOU apple.
No, IOU apple, but there aren't such a thing as minus apples, are there?
Not literally, but they could be translated as IOU apples.
Yeah, but
No, that's being churlish. The point that's being made there, yeah, is the maths is correct. It's perfect. It's correct. There's no fault with the maths. It's just the issue is the description of reality that the maths is trying to portray is not possible in reality. It's possible in mathematics, so the maths is correct, but the mathematics in this case is not transcribable to reality. And you can extrapolate that with some of the physics things that this guy is talking about. Yeah? Maths will only describe. And if you use science to understand something, a cause and effect, it will enable you to use maths to describe it better.
Right.
Well, let me give an example.
Let Brian give an example. Keep it brief, though. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. Fraction banking, where they don't have the actual physical gold to back up the zeros they can put on your screen. Right? They can put zeros on your screen and tell you you've got something that doesn't actually exist in reality. That's fraction banking. They're using that exact maths. They don't have gold in their vaults to back up the amount of money they are giving out on loan.
Right, but that's technically an IOU system, right? I mean, that's what cash is.
Well,
it's an IOU.
No, it's not that. But it's not that. But that's not an IOU there. That's not an IOU there. They're giving you something that they don't have. The same thing as me giving someone 3 apples if I only have 2. I can't do that.
Right.
In reality,
they still owe them, right? They still owe you then. They might not give
No,
it to
they don't owe you. Not in fraction banking. You owe them.
We're way down fractional banking. We don't need any deposit these days for banking. So
you're missing Brian's point. You're missing Brian's point.
Correct.
You're saying that
the maths is correct.
You're saying you invent something to give somebody, even though it doesn't exist. It's creating something out of nothing by purely typing in a couple more zeros onto a screen.
No, it's agreed convention that you can, as a bank, with your amount of reserve, lend up to, it's Adam Smith, I think, that does this, isn't it, in the 1800s, that you can lend an infinite amount more. As long as you've got that 10 times more, 20 times more, whatever it is. That's an agreed convention. The maths is correct. The translation to reality is correct. The money never exists, but it was never pretended to exist. It was a loaning mechanism, and everything works. But unless
when you're interrupting every bloody word of this.
Does that make sense? Everything's correct there because when we're doing this fractional reserve, it's based on a convention that's actually designate us as imaginary. They already designate that amount you can lend as the bank based on your fractional reserve as an imaginary amount called credit. And the system works with that agreed convention for reality. So the maths there works. There isn't the gold. I agree with Brian, but the maths is correct to reality there.
It used to work like that. Now it's like there is no more amount you need. They basically, it's like the lending is just infinite, and it's all IOU. It's all debt based. There's no more amount you have.
Yeah, but
to
you're going
have
off
in
the
order
trade,
to
off the
get an
trade
amount
hour.
of debt. There's no limit to it anymore. But I
Yeah,
get
but
the
you're
point.
going off the trail. The point is money, just want to use this as an example. Money is a receipt for gold. That's where paper money and coins came from. They give you paper money or coins, and that means you're using that much of your gold reserve in the bank to buy something from someone else. Then they can go back and give the bank back that money, and then they get that bit of gold, right?
Right.
But fraction banking is the money without the gold. So it's
Okay,
the same
thank
thing
you.
as three apples
Let's
when
get
you
this
have
back on
two.
track. We'll just
Right,
go back to the
and it
video.
moved on
Okay,
to
this is
complete
fascinating.
snowflakes.
Thank you.
We extrapolate the physical theory that we best think explains our world.
No, we don't. We can validate scientifically what the cause of an effect is in physics, and you can then afterwards describe it in maths. If you want your maths to be accurate, it'll accurately describe what happened with a quantified scale if you're describing how much of it. But that's about it. We don't then use maths to describe how reality is. That's absurd. I mean, that's the world we find ourselves in, but there we go. I think that's it. Okay. Thank God, we got to the end of the video. It didn't even take that long. I like them when they're short. Especially when we start them right at the end of a live stream. Right, any last remarks?
I've got a plea for the audience, if possible, before you round out the live show. Been receiving a lot of stuff on Twitter. I've had a request begging for a Flat Earth Debate Twitter channel. The guys retweeting and doing stuff in the audience, it's making an impact for me to be getting pestered like that. So I want to thank them and ask them to keep doing it. And maybe in the after show, it's something that's worth looking at. X or Twitter actually has a revenue stream now. And I think there's an appetite for the message that we're presenting. It's clear, it's concise, it's understandable, it's based in science. And it's the first time I've heard somebody say, please give us more Flat Earth Debate and please enter this platform. Arwin, again, I think you're included in that message as well.
Twitter?
Yeah. So I can go to it and read the message if you wish. It says, that goes for you at Largio Red and Nathan Oakley. If you guys can't be bothered individually, then just ask someone to set up an official Flat Earth Debate account with little clips from the show. I know some massive flat Earth accounts that would share and follow you. You would fly. Comments of, there'll be, I've got 4,000 straight away you could get, you know what I mean? So, but it's an interesting point that it's the first time I've noticed, and I've been on Twitter a long time, somebody saying, come on guys, can you provide something for this platform? And it's getting very big since Twitter became X. There's a tunes on there and there's a lot of stuff. So I just want to say, I think that's partly down to having shared the show, because that's a positive step for me.
With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member, and all that good stuff. Obviously, another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.